It's a beautiful May morning. It's May 24th. It's about 9:30 and it's around 58 degrees. I'm in zone 6B. The temperatures are slowly heating up. You know, summer's approaching very soon here. Now, I have just a few things I wanted to do in the garden this morning, so I thought it would be fun to just kind of record an average morning when I come down to the garden and do a little bit of harvesting, a little bit of planting, and just kind of checking on my plants in general, just to kind of give you an idea of what I do. So come with me, and we're going to start by doing some light maintenance, and then we'll do harvesting, because I like to harvest last so that the things that I've picked don't wilt in the sun while I'm tending to other things, okay? So let's just walk through the garden and see what we need to do. Okay, right over there, my sugar snap pea vine looks like it's starting to lean over because it's becoming weighted down with the peas, so I'm going to need to tie that to the trellis. I've tied it once, but it's telling me right now that I better tie it again or it's going to fall over. So let me do that first. Okay, so I just put a little bit of jute string right around the peas to kind of give them a little bit of support. Okay, here's my water bucket, and I have a little child's watering can in there, and so I'm going to use that to just check on some carrots and some other seedlings that I put in my square foot garden. So let's do that. These carrots are going to need some water. And I've also planted some green onions in the back here. Okay. More seedlings back there, carrots and spinach, so I'm going to go ahead and give those some water. They'll dry out pretty fast if you don't keep the smaller plants watered pretty well. I just like to mimic rain, so that's kind of why I'm using it like this. Now right back there in the corner is a Chinese cabbage, and I know from experience that that is not going to mature into a nice head of cabbage by the time the summer heat sets in. Now last year I was already harvesting my Napa cabbage, my Chinese cabbage, at this time of the year, so, or maybe about another week or two out. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. The reason why, as I just mentioned, it's not going to mature into a nice head of cabbage before the heat sets in, and I can use that space for something else that I do want to plant that's more heat loving, like peppers or tomatoes. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those out and put them in the composter. Last year I had a wonderful harvest of Napa cabbage, but obviously this is not the year for it, and that sometimes that just happens. You'll find, if you're new to gardening, some years things do great, and the next year they won't do well at all. And the thing about that, it kind of tricks you, because you think, oh, I'm going to grow that again this year. I had loved it last year, and then it doesn't perform well, but something else does. And that's kind of what makes gardening fun. So I am going to put probably a pepper plant right here. Okay, right over here looks like a good place for Swiss chard. Right here in the back are some carrots that I'm going to need to thin. Okay, so right back in here I have some carrots that are growing pretty close together, and so I want to give them about 3 inches apart. The one in the middle seems to be doing the best, so I'm going to take out the others just by clipping them off. This is most important to do it this way with carrots, because you will disturb that root that's growing down there, and this is a root vegetable, so to thin these seedlings it's best to cut off the tops, okay? This hopefully will develop into a very nice carrot for me. Okay, there we go. I'll finish them up and we'll move on to the next chore. Okay, there they are. I finished them up. They're all about 3 inches apart. I probably took out about 8 carrots. Okay? Okay, let's take a walk back to the other bed and see what's going on over there. Okay, over here, everything looks like it's doing pretty well. I have some chervil here that it needs a little bit of water. You can tell it's getting a little bit dry over here. Now, right here in the back, I have some wasabi arugula that is going to seed. Let's take a closer look at that. Okay, so this is kind of a decision every gardener has to make. Does it stay or does it go? And I would love to have this space because it's in a raised bed and it's very good soil. So I would like to use this area for something that's heat loving. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. Now whenever you have a plant like this, sometimes you can use the seeds I can certainly use these flowers for something. This is going to be very spicy. But again, as I just mentioned, I'd rather have this space for something else. So I am going to go ahead and pull this out and put it in the composter. Okay, so now I'm going to plant some stevia, or stevia. I've heard it pronounced two different ways, so that's what's going to go over here. There we go. Now right over here I have some carrots. They need a lot of water, so I'll make sure I keep these watered. If you don't keep your carrots watered, they will turn what I like to call hairy. When you go to harvest it, you'll pull it up and it's got little tiny roots all out on the outside. And that means it was searching for water. So give your carrots water and they will be very good to you. You want it to be nice and smooth when you harvest your carrots. Now this is a cilantro plant. This was the first one that grew in the garden this year. And I usually like to let my cilantro bolt and go to seed. I can use the seed for coriander, dried coriander, and that is a wonderful thing to use. I also like to use the seed green when it's fresh. It's really has a lot of flavor. However, since I have a lot of cilantro growing in the garden right now, I'm going to go ahead and pull this out again so I can start making room for some summer vegetables. And this also happens to be my son's garden bed. And he usually just likes to plant some of the summer things. So I'm going to make room for him. He has an idea of some corn he wants to plant this year. So I'll go ahead and pull this out too. Very gently and away from the shovel. Okay, there we go. Cilantro is just a wonderful plant to grow because all the parts are edible. They have a lot of flavor, and I typically will also save the roots, but I'm not going to save this one. I've been saving some already, and you can just pop them in a freezer bag and use those later and all kinds of different things. Okay, now comes the fun part. We are going to harvest some things from the garden. We are having a cookout today, and so I'm going to get a little bit of something for everyone. My teenage son is not picky at all about what he'll eat, so he will enjoy very much the sugar snap peas I'm going to get. As a matter of fact, the whole family loves those, so I'm going to harvest a big harvest of sugar snap peas. I've already been harvesting a little bit every week, and like I said, it's May 24th right now, so they're really coming in good. I'm going to get a little bit of lettuce. Actually, I'm probably going to get a lot of lettuce because I do want to make room for some more summer plants. So I'm going to get a lot of lettuce. It'll be for a nice salad. We have some ribs. We're going to do some ribs this afternoon. And I'm also going to do a kale dish right here with some of this kale, and that'll be mostly for me and my husband. I think he'll eat it. He's not a really big kale fan, but I love kale. So I have a good dish with that, and that's basically what I'm going to get today. Okay, maybe I'll pick up a few herbs. I'm thinking about maybe getting some cilantro as well. Okay, so let's get started here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start clipping off these sugar snap peas. Okay, so you always want to harvest your sugar snap peas right up here. That's kind of like leaving the cap on a water bottle. Okay, it's going to help keep your sugar snap pea fresh until you're able to cook it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get these. I've got a lot to get. Remember to look down below too, and not just at eye level, to look for peas that are down low on your vines, okay? That way you won't leave one on there. You don't want to leave them on. It'll slow down the production on your peas. This is my first real harvest of peas, so I've got plenty to last us a while here. Yummy, I cannot wait to cook these up. Now I'm going to get some lettuce. I'm probably going to end up pulling out most of this lettuce down here, and we'll just go ahead and eat that up this week too. Okay, so for lettuce, if I wanted to keep this in my bed, you just come down here and pull off the outer leaves, and let it continue to grow in the center. But because I'm going to go ahead and put in some summer-loving vegetables in this area, I'm going to pull out the whole plant. Okay, and this was real easy for me to grow this year. You know, lettuce only comes up in about 4 weeks. It's ready to harvest. So I just sprinkled out some seed last month, and it just grew. I've been coming down here and getting a salad. It didn't really require hardly any work from me because the April rains took care of watering it, and I've just been harvesting a lot of baby greens. So now I'm just going to harvest it like this. I will just take off any yellowing leaves, cut off the root, and that will be my lettuce. Put a little bit of water in here. That's where I'll put my lettuce. Then I'm going to get my kale and we'll be done. Okay, so there's some of my lettuce. I was not able to harvest all of it. I'm kind of in a hurry this morning, so what I want to do is go ahead and get some kale, and we will be on our way. To harvest your kale, you will also harvest it similar as to how I showed you with the lettuce. You can just start from the outside leaves and then work your way inward. Okay, so we're going to start at the bottom, and that's where I'm going to go ahead and harvest some for just a couple of dishes today. Sometimes your bottom leaves are going to show some signs of stress. They're not nice and pretty, so we don't want those. But the rest of these look really good, really pretty. Okay, now it's time to eat. I'm going to go inside and get these going, and we are going to head on over to the river and cook out today. So looking forward to having some fresh vegetables from the garden. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a little bit of a different kind of video than I normally do, but I think that as far as gardening or really any kind of skills that you are teaching yourself, especially if you're a new gardener, it just helps to see someone else doing things, and that's something that we can learn from. So hopefully you learned something. If you liked the video, please share it on your favorite social media. Give me a big thumbs up, and thanks for watching. Have a beautiful day.